Keith Paints.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Keith Paints. Today, I'm painting large stoned pillars out of these pieces of styrofoam I found. They're the perfect size, but one of my pet peeves when it comes to homemade terrain is when you can still see the texture of the original material. You might think this styrofoam texture would make perfect rocks, but my brain would only see painted styrofoam. But I have a plan to deal with that, and you can let me know in the comments whether it was successful or not. First thing, I give them all a flat side so they will stand up. I find these box cutters can be really flimsy if you push them out too far. That will come in handy later, but for this I thought I would use a kitchen knife to be a little more sturdy, and a little more like Bart's craft. No ASMR though. I found this other piece of styrofoam with the pillars, and I'm sure I can use it for something. For some reason I decided to use it as a ruler to measure out all the bricks. Unconventional, but it worked well enough. Only the first one I made ended up being crooked. Oh, hold on, let me go back for a second. There's something I wanted to try. Hey, that actually worked. That should speed up my process in the future. Now I go back to the box cutter knife to cut out the recesses between each of the stones. I do each side separately so that when I mess up a little bit here and there, each stone will look a little bit unique. Here is where the flimsiness of the blade comes in handy. It made getting the vertical sections a little bit easier, though if you watch you'll see that I did mess that up a little bit here and there too. I also carved away a lot of the texture at the top of the pillars, so it would look more like stones and less like styrofoam. After all the cutting, things are looking pretty good. To cover the rest of the styrofoam texture, I mixed this gesso I've had for years with PVA glue and baking soda. I'm pretty sure the PVA glue is supposed to seal the styrofoam, and the baking soda adds a nice micro texture that kind of resembles stone. This is my first time doing this, and in tests I found that a thick solution would kind of slide down the edges, so I opted to use 2 thinner coats, though I definitely could have used a third coat in some places. I also managed to cut myself. I didn't retract the blade on my box cutter when I went to cut the baking paper, and I flailed and cut my finger. stuck them on skewers and took them outside to spray with Xandri dust. Next, I gave them a hard overbrushing with Ushabti bone and then the same with Screaming Skull. If I had more paint, or the stores were open, I probably would have gone with a much thicker layer of the Ushabti Bone and probably a thinner dry brushing of the Screaming Skull. But Screaming Skull is the one that I have 2 pots of. It worked out alright in the end, and I'm content with the results. At this point, I wasn't really happy with the contrast, so I painted Agrak's Earthshade into all of the recesses. And then I still wanted it to pop a little bit more, so I edge highlighted each stone with more Screaming Skull. I might have just done this because I really enjoy edge highlighting things, but the rough texture made it really difficult to do, so lesson learned. I probably could have given it a good dry brushing with white, but I'm not so good at dry brushing, so edge highlighting was the last thing that I did. As an added bonus, the pillars are exactly the same size as my peasant level dungeon tiles I made in a previous video. I do think I will need more of those in the future. So what do you think of my stone pillars? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.